I want to start this video by thanking all of my subscribers for being here, for watching my videos, liking my videos, commenting. Everything you do is 100% appreciated. I'm so thrilled to have each and every one of you here, and I hope you'll stick with me after this update. So with that said, let's get started. You may have noticed that I haven't been posting regular content lately, and there's a reason for that. There's a couple of reasons for that, actually. First is I haven't been writing, so I haven't had really any content to post. But the other big reason is my mental health. It has not been great lately. I have been pushing myself way too far, trying to do too much. I have my work, my writing, my podcast, the YouTube channel, this. And the household stuff, and being a daughter and a best friend and an aunt and everything else that is in my life. And I've also started doing personal assistant tasks for authors, which takes up a lot of time. And so I've been stretching myself way too thin, and it has been horrible for my physical health, for my mental health. It's just I've been trying to do too much. Now, that being said, I do not want to get rid of my YouTube channel by any means, but I think what's going to have to happen is I'm going to have to go down to one video a month. If I have any other content to post, it'll just be like a bonus video, at least until my podcast season is over. So the podcast is taking up a lot of time because in this podcast, unlike my other podcast, I actually have guests. So I have to record the beginning with my co-host. I have to record the interview with the guest. I have to record any advertisements. I have to edit all of those recordings and splice the episode together and post the episode and write the show notes and link to anything that has to be linked in the show notes. And if we have a contest or something going on, I have to record that because I am the producer of the podcast. Sorry for that little bump. Mischief just hit the tripod. It's right by his food, so not surprising. And so that takes a lot of time. I mean, sometimes I'm taking 3 whole days a week to work on just the podcast. And then the rest of my time has been occupied by my day job as an editor of books and a formatter of books, which takes up a lot of time as well. And so those are my 2 really important things right now. I'm still trying to get in some writing time, but I'm not able to write every day. Some authors are able to write every day, or they get 5,000 words in a day. That's something I can't do as a writer. If I have a good day, sure, but it's not something I can guarantee myself that I can get done. So I need to prioritize, and I need to realize that I can't do everything every day, because there was a while there where I was going from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. doing everything: podcast, writing, YouTube, work, households. It was just everything in one day, and it was just too much. I wasn't sleeping. I was getting depressed. I had all sorts of sicknesses lately that just come from pure exhaustion, and it's not something I can continue to do. It's not to say I don't enjoy YouTube. I love YouTube. I love making the vlogs. I just need to realize, at least during podcast season, which my season is over in May, so we'll revisit this in May, but at least during podcast season, I need to realize I cannot do a video per week. I just can't do it. And I'm human, I have limitations. It's just something you have to realize after a while, and you just can't do it all. So that is 2 of my bad news topics. My 3rd bad news topic, which is kind of bad news, kind of good news, but my Patreon has been downsized to just part of my podcast. So if you listen to my podcast, which I'll link down below, it's called Let's Get Mystical. It's a supernatural podcast, so we talk to all sorts of supernatural people. We've had quite a few authors on, and this coming week we have a demonologist, and next week we have a coordinator of a Paracon, stuff like that. But everything is supernatural based. So all of our guests are supernatural based. We talk about supernatural shows, movies, books, etc. But anyway, if you listen to that and you'd like to be part of the Patreon, it's still the same link as always, which I'll also put down in the description. It's just that it's simply the podcast. There's no YouTube, there's no author stuff on there right now, because I don't feel right saying I'm going to provide this content and then not being able to go forward with it. Since I didn't have any patrons, I felt safe enough to revamp it. So it's for the podcast only, which is the bad news. But the good news is, because it's for the podcast only, the Write Like Jane Austen video that I mentioned I was going to do will now be on my YouTube channel. When it's going to happen, that's another story. I don't know yet. Possibly April. I'm trying to get to a point where I can do the Hemingway one this month, but I'm not guaranteeing that. It will be posted eventually, but it may not be this month. But the good news is you get to see the Hemingway and the Jane Austen video on this channel. I really am nervous posting this video because I don't want to lose subscribers. I will understand if I do, but I don't want to lose subscribers, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you'll stick around, but I understand if you don't. But I feel like this move to one video a month will not only benefit me, but it will also benefit my viewers, because I will have more content to put into my videos. I'm really hoping that that's going to be the case, and then, like I said, we'll revisit it in May and see where we are. Now, here's the good news. I mentioned the Jane Austen video, so that's one thing of good news. Secondly, as I mentioned, I will have more content to provide to you, more writing content, especially. Third, I hope this will give me more time to actually work on my books. If you remember, in a couple of videos ago, I mentioned that I was going to take a break from my current work in progress and brainstorm something else. I did do that. I did actually take a break and brainstorm and outline something else. However, within the course of that break, I looked at my work in progress yet again and decided I did actually like where it was going. I just needed to delete one scene and work off of that prospect. So it was in Act 2, it was the midpoint, the second catalyst, and the proactive phase. Those were the two things I had to delete to get myself back on track and have it be more about the characters rather than about her family. So there will be a deleted scene that I will provide either in the book when it's published, or maybe I'll read it on YouTube. I haven't decided that yet, but there will be at least one deleted scene from this book, which I like. I love deleted scenes, but it changes a lot. So I have to work toward, it was a big, huge catalyst having to do with her dad. And now that I'm taking that out, I have to not only add in another catalyst to replace it, but I have to revamp part of what I've already written and part of what I plan to write to not include what that thing was that was happening to her dad. So wish me luck. That scene was about 1,700 words, so we didn't delete a lot, so that's good. So hopefully it'll get me on a track of being able to write it. But anyway, the fourth good thing is, because I'm going to be doing only one video a month, it's going to be more vlogs, less, chatting. Because I did say I wanted to do more vlogs, yet I keep posting these chatting videos. That's not what I meant. So it'll be more vlogs. It'll give me more opportunity to be a little bit more artistic with the vlogs, give you a little bit more interesting content rather than just seeing me type all the time. Stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that as well. I haven't decided whether this one video a month thing is going to be one video, or if I'm going to just record through the month, because I can record easily if I'm working on stuff. It's just that editing every week is a lot of work in addition to everything else I'm doing. So the recording doesn't really do much. I mean, in fact, the recording helps me focus because, as I've mentioned, I use my phone to record. So it helps me focus on whatever I'm working on. So it's not the recording that's the problem, it's the editing and the posting and making the thumbnails and writing out the descriptions, and it's just a lot every week. Okay, so what led me to make this decision? I mentioned how I was getting burned out and everything, but the big thing that led me to this decision was I was doing my March scheduling, which I'll put up on the screen here. And I was looking at my calendar for March and got really overwhelmed, as you'll see why I got really overwhelmed. And I realized that it was too much for one human to do in 1 month. So I went through and said, okay, what absolutely has to be done and what needed to be adjusted. So as you'll see, I blacked out YouTube and Patreon stuff aside from for the podcast. And it really, even though it didn't really make a lot of black marks, you'll see all the black marks that I mentioned, but even though it didn't really make a lot, it really was a relief to see how much less I have to do per month by blacking out the YouTube and the Patreon. It was a huge relief, and it makes me think that I could actually accomplish the things that are on my calendar rather than putting items on the calendar and then never accomplishing them. I hate that feeling when I don't accomplish them. I'm adding more stress to myself by not accomplishing them. So I've decided to just not include them. That's my channel update. So channel is still gonna happen. Videos are still gonna happen. It's just not gonna be as frequent. And I haven't decided when during the month I'm gonna post either. So if you have a preference on that, let me know in the comments. Would you like it the beginning of each month, the middle of each month, the end of each month? Now, beginning and end, there's no issues. If I do the middle of the month, there's gonna probably be an issue simply because I don't know how my writing is going to land. I don't know my schedule for the most part ahead of time. So if I do the middle of the month, I'm worried that I'm gonna get into where the second half of each month is gonna be like no work, and then I'm only gonna have footage from the first half of the next month. So I'm a little bit weary of doing like the 15th or something. So I'm kind of wanting to narrow it down to either the beginning of the month or the end of the month. So let me know in the comments which you think would be better. As much as this is my channel, input from you really helps not only me to know what kind of content to give you and when, but also helps the channel if you comment or like and let me know these things. I want to grow this channel to be able to share my journey, hopefully help others on their journey, and really get back into the writing community. So it used to be, I've been doing this for over 10 years, and I used to be really into the writing community, but then I had like 3 years where I was having a really hard time with everything, which is why I have a hard time now. It's a byproduct of those 3 years. But I was having really hard time. I mean, I pretty much quit writing because it was so difficult for me. I still don't know why, but it was so difficult for me, I basically quit. And in that time, I was not immersed in the writing community, and I feel like I missed out on a lot. So I really want to get back into all that. And I enjoy these videos. I enjoy telling you how my writing is going. I enjoy hearing how your writing is going. So this is getting very rambly, and I apologize, but basically this is where I am in my journey. This is where the channel is going. So let me know your thoughts on all of this. And it's like I said in the beginning, I really hope you'll stick with me, but I understand if you want to unsubscribe because I will only be posting 1 video a month, and that's not a lot of content. And I know myself as a viewer of AuthorTube, I do enjoy more content more often, but I also know authors are human. We can only do so much. We can only do so much. I wish I could do everything. I wish I was superhuman, but I'm not. And I have to realize there comes a point where I'm doing more harm to myself than is good for anybody. And it's just not good. It's just not good. The stress, the worry, not sleeping, not eating well, it's just not good for me. And it's gotta change. So, wish me luck. And I hope I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.